All right, guys, before we get started, make sure, like always, you're liking and subscribing to this channel. Maybe even turn on notifications. Let's talk Jazz Nuggets. What an incredible game between the Jazz and Nuggets. This was Denver's big shot against Utah. You got to give credit to Denver. They came out and gave their best shot possible. They changed their lineup. They put Torrey Craig on the bench along with Michael Porter Jr., who has been an absolute defensive sieve for them, and it helped out, and they were hitting more shots. And you've got to give credit to Jamal Murray. He was an absolute monster tonight. For Denver, Jamal Murray had 50 points. He shot 58% from the field. He shot 60% from three. He was out of his mind. Like, I was watching him, and I basically just kind of, face guard that guy, do whatever you can, Jazz, to get the ball out of his hands, because it felt like every time he was shooting it, it was going in. And, 60% from three on 15 threes is otherworldly. Jamal Murray has games like this where he just goes nuts, and tonight he did 50 points. Jokic had a better game tonight, although he took 10 threes and hit 3 of them. So if you're Utah, you take that, because he was 12 for 24 from the field. He did have 6 assists. The Jazz have really kept him to like that 6 assist number the whole game. That's one thing you've got to give credit to Quinn Snyder, is he has really come up with a game plan that has neutralized a lot of that passing from Jokic. You just don't see these triple doubles from him because they've held the assists in check. And Rudy Gobert has been a big part of that, but also the Jazz defenders have been guarding their men really well and just doing their jobs to make sure that they don't help off. George Niang helped off a couple times with Jokic, and and they paid for it. And that's why he sat with Juwan Morgan, although Juwan Morgan should have been playing the entire game, or at least with the second unit. So anyways, give credit to Jokic that when he recognizes that split-second mistake by someone like Niang, he makes you pay for it. And the Jazz, for the most part, kept them in check. So you've got to give credit to Jokic for playing a solid game. Still 29 points. We talk about it like he had a bad game. He had a good game. 29 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. But it's keeping those assists down that have helped Utah so much. Not a lot else we want to say. I felt like at the end of the game, the Nuggets did a better job of making sure not to switch off Michael Porter Jr. because Utah was doing that every single time. You have to feel bad for MPJ at this point, because they're just targeting him like crazy. It's like when the Jazz played OKC and Melo, they just targeted Melo incessantly, and it basically put him out of the league. And now they're doing that against MPJ. The Nuggets are basically having to, instead of switch, they double team the guy who's trying to get onto MPJ. And it's leaving open shooters. And Donovan Mitchell was able to advance even with double teams. Donovan Mitchell was out of his mind tonight. And so let's talk about the Jazz a little bit. Donovan Mitchell, 51 points, just absolutely clutch. He missed one free throw, but at one point he was 16 for 16 from the line. He's getting to the line. 16 free throws is superstar stuff. And it's why he's just taking another step and getting to the next level. And tonight, Mitchell was 15 for 27, 55% from the field. Only took 7 threes, 4 for 7 though. 57% from 3. Let's see. Am I looking at the right thing? Donovan Mitchell. Yep, 4 for 7. Michael Jordan stuff from Donovan Mitchell tonight. Unbelievable. So Mitchell scores 51, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, and let's see, turnovers, only 4 turnovers. So 7-to-4 turnover ratio with his assist percentage. And when you're getting double teamed like that, that's out of this world stuff, guys. This is Michael Jordan level performances from Donovan Mitchell, because you have Denver changing their entire lineup because of you to guard him, and he still scores. He still gets his. You've got to give super credit to Mike Conley, who in 2 games has been phenomenal. He's been everything the Jazz traded for. And this is what you traded for Mike Conley for, is these playoff games. Because in the playoffs, you have more half-court possessions. You have, a slowed down game in a lot of ways. Just a lot of half-court where things are harder. And you need guys that can get you buckets. And Mike Conley got buckets. Tonight, he was 8 for 13, 61% from the field, 4 for 8 from 3. That's incredible. So the Jazz backcourt is just blowing up the Denver Nuggets. They have no answers, And when you think, last game you have Rudy Gobert, who I felt like had his moments tonight. He was 7 for 8 from the field, so that's, great efficiency, 11 rebounds. He ended with 5 fouls, so he stays in the game. But Rudy, I felt like could have done a better job tonight. I felt like Jokic got a little bit the best of him in certain situations in the game. I just feel like when Jokic has that little mid-range pull-up, Rudy's just got to contest harder. And I think you kind of saw that when Rudy, was able to kind of go with, Rudy contested one of Jokic's shots, and for the first time you saw Jokic try to go to the rim and kind of take advantage, and Rudy stopped the shot and guarded him well. And Rudy's just got to do that more. Rudy's got to contest harder against Jokic. I know it's tough, and I know it wears you out, but if Rudy can do that a little bit more, it can make a big difference. Although what he's doing right now is good enough to win the game, so maybe it doesn't matter. But like I was saying, Michael Conley and Donovan Mitchell, that backcourt is just destroying the Nuggets. They don't have answers on defense. Torrey Craig apparently was a Donovan Mitchell stopper, and he got benched, And the best part of this game, out of this, I got out of my seat for it. It was incredible. Every Jazz fan in this, on their seats, because we can't be in the stadium, was taunting him when Millsap stared down Donovan Mitchell after Donovan Mitchell has scored 43 points, and you stare him down after a block, which, good block, I guess, on a guy who has 43, and then Mitchell 2 seconds later buries a 3 in his face. And then we all saw how he says, "I want this." We all saw it. It was fantastic. It was incredible. When you have a guy stare you down like that, and the next play, you bury it in his face. And Millsap is not a bad defender. He is I don't know if he's an all-defensive player now, but he's an all-defensive player in his past. And so he still's got the instincts. He still knows how to defend. When you bury it in his face like that, that is like legend stuff. That is legendary. That is unbelievable to make that type of shot. And then the fact that it was a game-changing shot in the playoffs at the end of a game against a team who is giving everything they have to not go down 3-1, and you bury that, legend. It's an all-time Jazz shot. Unbelievable. The other reason the Jazz won this game, Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson is the reason the Jazz were still in this game, because Denver went out of their minds this game. Let's see what Denver shot. From 3, Denver shot 38%. So basically everyone shot poorly except for Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray had an amazing game. He is the reason they were even remotely close. But Utah, 48% from 3. Those numbers are nuts. Denver just allows teams to shoot threes, and Utah's making them. But Jordan Clarkson, 4 for 7 from 3, and those were not easy threes. They were pull-up threes off of curls. He is unbelievable. You just can't say enough about what Jordan Clarkson did in this game with his shooting. And I know he was a -4, but it was like, if you don't have Jordan Clarkson in this game, Utah maybe loses by 20 points. He was just a game changer, and he really kept the Jazz in it when they were just not hitting shots. They were struggling to adjust. The other guy that's got to freaking get with the program is Quinn Snyder. He plays Juwan Morgan at the end of the game, and even at the very end puts him in for clutch rebounding and defense. Why wasn't Juwan Morgan in this game earlier, Quinn? What are you doing? And Quinn also has Ingles guarding Murray at times. What is going on? It's like we don't learn from the things from the games before. I swear this game would be different if Juwan Morgan had come in instead of either George Niang or Tony Bradley. I kind of like Niang more because of the shooting. It is legit, and he did hit a 3 in this game. But at this point, when you're having Jordan Clarkson score like this, or Mike Conley who's scoring like this, why aren't you bringing in Morgan for the defense? What is going on? What is this love affair with Bradley and Niang and even friggin' Moutier, who thank goodness is not in these games? Mike Conley has changed this team because of those minutes where you don't have Emmanuel Moutier just barfing possessions. And so Mike Conley has changed the series because he plays with the bench. And if Quinn would stop not playing Juwan Morgan, that would be great. Those are the tough decisions you have to make as a coach, but that's why you get paid like you do. Make those decisions. Juwan Morgan is game changer, and the Jazz have him for a while now. It's amazing. He's like diet Derek Favors. He comes in and he's a big body. He's long. He defends really well, and he rebounds. Honestly, he spreads the floor a little bit. So what's not to like? It's fantastic. So Quinn's got to figure that, stop playing not Juwan Morgan, basically. That'll help the Jazz, okay? That'll help. And Royce O'Neal had a tough game with foul trouble a little bit, 5 fouls. When Royce gets in that foul trouble, it seems to get in his head a little bit. And so the thing with Royce is if he can just like get through that first quarter without getting some bad fouls and stuff, he plays better. But Royce O'Neal has been a game changer, and part of why this game was, Royce didn't have a great game, and it's interesting that it was a tough, close game again, just like game one, basically. So when Royce has monster nights, the Jazz are like unbeatable, it feels like. Not a lot else to say, guys. Ironically enough, George Niang, +8. Interesting stat there. So maybe we should be playing Juwan Howard instead of Tony Bradley? Maybe. Might be a nice idea, Quinn. We'll see. Guys, that's everything I got. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. I will talk to you next game.